Hey, but guys, your boy Eli from the Geek Centurions with my good brother Joe. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty well, you
And this
know.
is our third episode of the Watchmen review. Third episode. She was killed by space junk. Was
Is
she?
that also a reference to a song or a various pop culture thing like the previous two? Because I don't know.
It is. It's so. And I'll get to it as soon as we can. But first thoughts, Joey. What are your first thoughts of this episode?
My thoughts. Pretty solid episode. Definitely. We're sort of seeing like Angela, if I remember correctly. That's the
Yeah,
main
that is
character.
her name.
Yeah, so the main character's name. Struggling through a lot of stuff. We also see the introduction of
You, you
uh,
forgot her name, didn't you?
I forget her name, but she's Silk Spectre.
Yeah, she's Silk Spectre. She's the second Silk Spectre. She is Lori Blake. Lori Blake. Lori Blake. Okay. She's taken to the comedian's last name. That's interesting. Because
Yeah,
it's, yeah.
yeah.
It's you don't I think she finally accepted the things that happened to her mother.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, to be fair, it went from a bad situation to a loving situation, real quick.
yeah, absolutely. Anyways, we get a bunch of stuff like that. We get, I think we get that theory confirmation of,
Yeah, and we'll get to that when we get to that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, just a lot of stuff happening. A lot of, kind of just, I don't know. It's all solid.
It felt slow, but it was good.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, yeah. There is a lot of like, yeah, definitely sort of like takes a step back a bit.
Hmm.
Probably just to like get like sort of a new perspective on like the current situation happening with all the characters
Oh yeah.
through Silk Spectre's eyes. So
Yeah,
yeah,
from because the first two episodes where we're introduced to a new character, now we're gonna get this character who is part of the world and see their thoughts on it. Because Lori Blake, as we said, the second Silk Spectre, daughter of the original Silk Spectre, from a relationship with the comedian. I'm forgetting his first name, but his last name was Blake. Do you remember?
no, and I feel like I want to say it's Donald, but I don't think it is.
That would be pretty funny.
Yeah,
No, but the episode starts off with Lori Blake going into essentially, I want to call it a confession booth because it feels very much like a confession booth.
yeah, and I believe it's supposed to be a where she can communicate to Doctor Manhattan. It's like this weird like telephone booth that connects you to like Mars.
Yeah, supposedly connects you to Mars, I would say.
Yeah, because it never really. You just put like money in, and then like
Mm.
it records a message, and it's like we'll send it to Mars, and it's like, I mean, can they do that though? That's the real question.
I mean, I think it's more or less to make to people feel comfort. Like it's a little phone to God.
Yeah, yeah, which is like very sort of like telling in this universe.
Yeah, because listen, we in this point of the world, there's no confirmation of God. Not saying that there is. I'm a Padre Hijo Espíritu Santo. You can tell from the background of my over there. You're gonna slap me for that, aren't you?
I don't know. That's that's whatever.
Yeah, but no, the whole thing is so it starts off with, very much like her father, starting off with a joke. It's the joke is whole is the this daughter of architect throws a brick up the air, and the brick never comes back down. Just to let you guys know, this is a brick joke, and I'll explain to it as we go along. But that's how we start off, and then we go into what we know is currently happening with the whole mass vigilante things. Because Lori Blake, Silk Spectre 2, is now part of the FBI.
Yeah, and she specifically goes after vigilantes.
Yeah, so anyone who's not following the Keene Act that was established in the book. Oh, Edward Blake, that's what it was. I was looking at it for the whole time.
All right.
I was like, it's a normal name. It's not like Peter Parker, and those what do you call it, the first letter, whatever. But no, yeah, it's that. So it starts off with that. You think it's a bank heist. It's basically, but no, everyone in there is working for the FBI. They're coming down to capture this guy, and he's like, "What?" And we get an instance of how Laurie Blake's character is in this world. She's very what's the word I'm looking for?
Jaded.
She's very jaded. Like, holy crap! Like the moment the dude tries to run away, she immediately just I forgot how many bullets because I lost count.
Yeah, she like unloads on him, and like one of her partners is like, "How'd you know the bullets were gonna stop? We're gonna kill him?" And she just walks away. So that implying that she was willing to totally kill this guy.
Yeah, and then later on, when this dude, what was this? What was that? They gave a name to this masked hero. I don't remember what it was.
I don't know. Yeah, I think it was I don't know.
Some sort of dark thing because it was all in black.
Yeah, he reminded me of Batman.
I think that was the point.
Yeah.
Because later on they mentioned he was just a rich asshole. Yeah. Some people are like, "Why are you arresting him? He's a hero." And he's like, and she gives a response about him being an idiot rather than being a hero, which makes sense because the whole book was essentially this commentary on like vigilantes not being people. Like they're all kind of like selfish, assholes, people who you probably shouldn't be
idolizing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Oh yeah, that totally makes sense to me too. And then we go into her life, and it starts playing so you were asking me about she was killed by space junk. She plays a song called Space. I think it was called Space Junk or something. I have to look and see because there's always somebody who's pointing out these pop culture references that I don't even recognize.
Yeah.
And like it's based on a song that she immediately plays when she gets home.
All right.
Yeah, and we get an into it, and she's just sitting there. She's feeding a rat to something. It's a bird.
It's an owl specifically.
It's an owl specifically, and so she opens a little cage. I like this. This insinuates her who she is and how a conflict I think she's gonna have later on. But she opens a case. It starts lighting up blue, which everyone's been saying is a reference to Pulp Fiction.
I mean, I can see that.
I mean, it opens it up. It's blue. We don't know until like later. Well, in Pulp Fiction, we never find out what it is, but we find out what it is later in this episode.
Yeah.
But then, and later she's visited by John Keane Jr.
Yeah, the senator.
The senator's the guy, the son of the man who put on the Keane Act, where the main vigilante is not, against the law now.
Yeah.
And so they start talking about the stuff that's happening in Tulsa, where we already know what's going on.
Yeah.
And this is where he dropped a hint that Night Owl, the second Night Owl, is basically in jail.
Yeah, because like he comes there to pretty much to like have her come in to investigate Judd's death from the first episode.
Yeah. Because there's clearly something going on, and now Keene wants her to be a part of it. Clearly there's something. Clearly we all know there's something going on. That everything is very cool, and I like how they're like this is good cinematography in my opinion, where like they framed her behind like Andy Warhol style of all the main heroes from Watchmen, except for Rorschach.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was Ozymandias, Night Owl, and Dr. Manhattan, and then it was her. But her who she is, the actress playing Laurie Blake is behind the painting of what essentially is her.
Yeah, she's standing in front of herself, so like
yeah,
it's her like her now kind of moment.
Yeah, her now, and I will say so far they made Laurie Blake's character a lot better than she was in the book and in the movie, if you want to see the movie.
Yeah.
Because one of the main criticisms that comes from the Watchmen book and heck even the movie is that Laurie Blake is just kind of there. Like she has nothing to do with the role. Well, you can argue she does, but it's like she doesn't have much of a character.
Yeah, I guess what you mean like she doesn't really have anything to do, like in terms of like the overall like
narrative. Yeah, because she's not pushing anything. But no, as we go along, the story continues. We go into because Laurie Blake is now working for the FBI, and apparently if she helps out Keene, that means Night Owl gets out.
Right, yeah, because he used that as leverage of like, listen, when I become president, I can pardon anybody, and that includes,
Your little bird in a cage.
yeah. So obviously that like he's sort of like doing this in part to like essentially help Niall get pardoned.
Mm-hmm. And as we go, and there's the whole briefing with her, and we introduce this new character whose name is escaping me at this moment. Do you remember this dude's name?
Not necessarily. He's an FBI agent, but like he's mainly in charge of like gathering up information and research and all that stuff.
And he's a huge. He's basically like a huge fan.
Essentially, but he's kind of like, listen. The only reason why I know this is because I was like a history major and kind of stuff.
His name is Dale Petey.
Okay.
Yeah, and apparently HBO has released kind of like something called PD. It's a play on Wikipedia. It's called PDpedia or whatever. I don't know. And it basically goes into how Night Owl how Night Owl got arrested. Basically, he chose not to follow the whole Keene Act later on in life.
Right.
Because like, I mean, shit's happening. He's got to do something. But yeah. So later, so she decides to partner up with old Petey because he's probably the only one who gets what's going on.
Yeah.
Because he's a lot smarter than anybody else. And he knows a lot about vigilantisms. Which I kind of find it funny how he just comes in with a mask.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Like when in Rome, guys. Do like the Romans. I mean, yeah. But I think we're later introduced to someone named Lady True. Who, well, not introduced, but we're mentioned her. And I feel like she's going to be of importance because she ends up quoting a line from Ozymandias. The actual Ozymandias, not the book, not the Watchmen Ozymandias.
Right.
Yeah, the whole look upon my works, ye whatever. I can't remember that whole line. But no, that's a clear nod to the books. And so, by the way, as this story is going, Laurie Blake is continually talking about this joke, just saying Dr. Manhattan through the phone. And it starts off with 3 heroes talking to God. First, and each hero is basically
a representation of the other members of the Watchmen.
Yeah, except for Rorschach.
So yeah, except for Rorschach.
Yeah. Because like the first person was Night Owl, and he's like, I've done all this cool stuff with technology. I save people's lives, and God being, I'm guessing in their mind, a nihilistic person. Ask him how many people that he killed. He's like, I didn't kill anybody. And in her joke, God said not good enough, and so she snaps him to hell.
Right.
And then we go into, and then like as the story goes along, at some point he just talks about Adrian Veidt. Clearly Ozymandias because he's like the smartest man in the world. He's caused a lot of death and destruction because of the squid thing.
Yeah.
Break a couple eggs and all that good stuff to make an omelet. And she snaps him to hell. And we'll get to the third one because the obvious third one is Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, as we go along, she arrives and she starts talking to, she starts investigating the crime scene. And she notices that there's something wrong there. And that leads her to go talk to the rest of the Tulsa Police Department. And we get introduced to Pirate Jenny. We finally know her name.
Yeah.
And I'm still waiting on what happened to Panda because he's probably the most interesting one I know. But no, as soon as it goes, and from there she starts turning a looking glass. And she's just making fun of him the whole time.
Yeah, like she's like very jokey.
She's very much coming off like her father.
Like she just like constantly like sort of jokes around, but then quickly gets really serious when she needs to be.
Yeah, because like she's making fun of his mask, like she's like cleaning herself up or whatever. Because like it's a literal mirror.
Yeah.
And like she calls the little machine that they use to identify a racist as the racist detector.
And he's like, and the looking glass is like, that's not exactly how it works, but.
Yeah. So, it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to see that her interactions with the rest of the crew. But no, she finds out that Judd's funeral is happening soon.
Yeah, and she goes, and Angela is going to speak there as well.
Yeah, she gives a eulogy. It's a nice eulogy. They're singing like his favorite song, which I'm pretty sure there's a meaning towards, but I have no idea what it is.
Yeah, you know, somebody will figure it out.
Someone probably already figured it out at the time of this recording. But yeah, so as she's singing this song, there's a cut to a Calvary, one of the Calvary's members digging a hole through a mausoleum, and he comes out of nowhere saying, "I have a bomb stretched onto myself, that is tied to my heartbeat, so if my heart stops beating, it's gonna blow up." And he starts calling out Keen, saying that he is a... What did he say to him, Jay?
Well, he's essentially waging war against them, and that, you know...
Yeah, that he's against them and all that good stuff.
And that he's gonna, like, you know... If he comes with them, nobody gets hurt, essentially.
Yeah, it's the usual stuff. And, you know, he grabs onto him. He's like, if anyone follows me, I'll detonate and I'll blow everything up. And immediately, Lori Blake's like... To the head.
Yeah, like, she just straight up just pulls out her gun. And
but she wasn't... They weren't supposed to bring weapons, but, like, she was like... I got one on me.
Yeah, always have a piece on you.
Always.
Yeah, and she just, like, blasts him immediately. And then, like... Of course, like, you know, he wasn't lying. Like,
surprisingly, he wasn't lying.
Yeah, the bomb is, like, literally starts about to go off. And Angela decides...
Quick thinking, by the way.
Quick thinking. Throws the casket...
Well, throws him inside the hole they were gonna bury Judd in, and then throw the casket into her. Which, holy shit, that's fucked up.
I mean, you know, it's...
I get it. It's within reason, but I'm like, man, if that was someone I know and love, I would have been...
Yeah, no, I understand that, but at the same time, you know...
I get it. It's funny to me. But no, it's... It blows up, and then we get this really cool cut to Jeremy Irons' character, where she's looking where I think it was who was it? It wasn't Angela, it was Lori. She quick cut, and you hear like the reggae starts playing, and it just cuts to like this sculpture, this head sculpture. What do you call it? A bust.
Yeah,
and it's like the mask, and it's like, oh, we're into the Adrian Veidt story. Yay! My favorite part of the show, where he's on there, and he's clearly up to something. As we know, he's up to something. So, and as they go along, we get to see sort of he's basically making a spacesuit.
He's like trying to get his like little clone butlers into like this spacesuit, and like he tries to I think he tries to launch him, but
we don't know. But I think it looks like a spacesuit. It's so he's probably somewhere in this weird. He's trying to send something into space, or he's in space. For all I know, we'll get into that later. But no, clearly it didn't work, and he's going off to look for better material. For whatever reason, there's buffalo.
Yeah, like apparently there's like a game warden that like lives on the property, and like he has buffalo, which really makes me wonder what the hell he is.
Yeah,
like is he just on like some private secluded island? I assume.
I have a theory, and we'll get to that when we get to that. But you know, he said we get another "For He's a Jolly Good Fellow" song.
Yeah, and he's not really necessarily in the mood.
I mean, I wouldn't be either if someone tried to fuck with my kill.
Yeah. And, you know, he starts, you know, like, he gets, like, a letter from the game warden being like, hey, don't kill my buffalo. And, and he decides to, like, have one of his maids
type a letter for him.
Yeah. Like, sort of sending a response back, being like, hey, screw you. I do what I want.
So says Adrian Veidt. And we finally get confirmation, even though we all knew it.
Yeah. This is definitely like one of those like, yeah. I think anybody that's even like seen the books or the movie would be like, yeah, no, that's Adrian Veidt. So That's Ozymandias.
That's our boy.
And he literally, I think the next scene is him dressing up in his old outfit.
Which it looks nice on him, by the way.
Yeah, you know.
It looks nice. It looks nice. I like it. It looks a lot better than the one in the movie.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I think the movie was like modernizing the outfit. This is like seems like a straight like 1-to-1.
Yeah. And before we get to that, we gotta get to the last joke of that. Second to last joke of the whole God thing that Laurie was saying to Dr. Manhattan, and it's basically, this is the Dr. Manhattan part of the joke, where she says that this guy is basically God himself too. It's just he realized that connecting humans is bullshit.
Right. Yeah.
And God asked him how many people did he kill. He's like, he uses the most well-known line of like, well, the same cells on a human body is the same cells on a dead body. Nothing really matters and all that stuff. And so after that, God snaps into hell. And he's like, and he's fine with it because like in Dr. Manhattan's mind, apparently in her joke, he was always in hell, which is kind of sad. I feel like those jokes are commentary on how she feels about each one of the characters, each one of the guys that were in the Watchmen, those heroes. That's her thoughts on each one of those guys. How they kind of maybe, I don't know, screwed her over.
Yeah. It definitely seems like that. Like it's like her own way of like commentating on how she views these people now that like not in her older years. Sort of like every single one of them sort of like has all these flaws that to like even like to God like would be like worthy of going to hell.
Yeah, and because they all know the secret, I guess.
Yeah, that Ozymandias obviously like
because notice, what? Let's talk about this later as in the spoiler portion of the review. We get back to Laurie and she's trying to. John Keane is being questioned about the stuff that happens and asked about Rush's deal with the whole possible making their own Dr. Manhattan, because they mentioned like this machine that made Dr. Manhattan, and so he's like, I'm not worried about people from out there. I'm worried about the people here in our borders, in our states, in our country. Which, again, I've said this before, I think this show is basically a clear nod to current events that are going on right now. Where they're focusing more on stuff here. Or where they should be, I don't know. I don't know how to say that. I'm not a political guy. But as we go along, Laurie starts questioning Angela. And basically, Angela just straight to tell her, bitch, I'm not scared of you.
Yeah, like, she definitely sort of, like... She brings up the fact that Judd has a secret closet, and where she compares it to like, her father essentially, who also had like a secret compartment in like his closet or whatever.
Yeah,
and she essentially is sort of like kind of on the trail, like something, and I feel like it's something that would damage Judd's reputation. I feel like you need to tell me, and she's like. I don't know anything. Screw you. I ain't afraid of you.
Yeah, but as we probably figured out, she has every reason to not be okay with Judd.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so later on we get to see Laurie and her partner go back to their hotel rooms, each in their own separate rooms, and it's just then she starts saying the last part of this God joke.
Yeah.
Where before we go to that, we gotta talk about what happens next. We find out what's in the box, and we'll get to that in the spoiler review. But clearly, it's what's in the briefcase is a sentiment that reminds you of Dr. Manhattan in a way.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Yeah, and again, we'll go into the spoiler review for that one. And then she starts sleeping with her partner.
Yeah.
Which I find was kind of funny because he wears the mask during the whole thing.
Yeah, that's
kinky.
Weird. Yeah, it's I ain't gonna say anything.
No kink shames here. But later on she finished off her joke, and her joke was essentially that there was one more person in that lineup that God didn't notice, and it was basically Lori. It was her. She wasn't noticed. She wasn't there. God didn't pay attention to her. And God would ask her, and the joke says God asked her, what did you do? And she says, well, I'm the one who threw the brick up in the air.
Yeah, she recalls it. It's a callback to like the first joke she was trying to say with the girl.
Yeah,
and the
and
brick.
for those of you that don't know, it's called a brick joke.
Yeah,
Because the idea of a brick joke is that you make a joke involving a brick, and then it leads to no punchline. You make another joke and bring back the brick, and that is the punchline.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the fun part. So that's how we get to this whole situation with Lori, and the brick comes back down and kills God. And then good joke, everybody laughs, just like a comedian would say. And she, as the call's about to end, she tells Dr. Manhattan that basically screw you for abandoning us. I know you're not coming back. Everyone thinks you're coming back, but you're not coming back. And as she leaves, she's getting close to the curb, and then a car falls out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I think that's Angela's car.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was Angela's car.
Yeah. And so so she was almost killed by a space junk. Well, that's what her thought process, because she immediately looks up to the sky and sees a red star, which is it's Mars, where Dr. Manhattan may be at.
Yeah.
And so yeah. And so that's how the episode ends. And you said your thoughts, now it's my turn to say my thoughts. I also think this is a very solid episode. It's probably not the strongest, but it's probably stronger when you have the whole thing around.
Yeah. I think if you're familiar with the material and familiar with the older characters, then I think this is probably like a pretty like solid episode. Like seeing like another like character from the original Watchmen comic, sort of like being sort of brought into this new situation and new scenario, and like having to like figure out like what's happening, and also just like getting to see like how they view the current world now.
Yeah. And yeah, I was gonna say, well, you just said the whole thing. Like I was gonna say more about like the whole like later on episodes that this whatever happened here makes more sense.
Yeah.
And I think it was a good episode. I like Lori. She was probably one of the best things about this episode.
Yeah. She's just a really a fun character.
Yeah, you can tell the actress is having so much fun with the role, and seeing her like be this sort of basically taking up her father's whole idea of what makes a good joke, and her rolling with it. It kind of feels nice to know that she's accepted the events that have happened with her dad.
Yeah.
And I like to see where this goes along. But that's the end of our talk. We're gonna go into the spoiler session right now. In the next 5 seconds, we're gonna give you time to go watch the episodes. We talk about some of the important stuff that has happened. I will say this is probably gonna be the shortest episode.
Yeah, I think it might be,
because everything was just there wasn't that much to talk about. Basically, a lot of things were confirmed that we just talked about earlier. There's only a couple things, and there's only like one thing I really want to talk about in our spoiler discussion.
Yeah.
So spoilers in the next few seconds. We're gonna give you a chance to go watch the episode, so you can come back and talk to us, check our thoughts, and yeah. Okay, Joey. So we find out what's in the briefcase. The briefcase is basically the big blue dildo.
Yeah.
That caught you off guard.
I'm gonna be honest. When I was first watching it, I did not even know what it was until like.
She started assembling it.
Yeah, I was like, "Is that?" And then like, oh.
Man, once you go blue, there's nowhere to go. That's not how. I made a joke earlier about that. I can't remember how it goes. God damn it.
Yeah, you tried, but I guess it's just it's a weird like kind of memento.
Once you go blue, you don't know what to do. There you go. That's what it.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but like it's a weird memento for her to like keep that reminds her of Dr. Manhattan, which I mean, I get they were like, they were together for a bit of time.
Yeah, because they also pan to an image of her and Dr. Manhattan together. Like, they're basically fucking.
Yeah. So it's like, it's definitely kind of like a weird way for her to view like her last attachment to Dr. Manhattan in her own way is this, fucking dildo.
Yeah. I mean, you can say whatever you want to say about that in terms of relationship with Night Owl, because we don't know yet.
Yeah.
But the reason I say there's a clear connection to her past relationships, because at the end of the book, she gets together with Night Owl.
Yeah.
And there's a clear sense of love there. I mean, Night Owl's biggest issue, one of the biggest issues Night Owl's in the book is that he can never get it up. You forgot about that, didn't you?
Kind of, yeah. It's just like one of those things you don't really.
I mean, you don't remember in Zack Snyder's film when like they immediately have sex and then there's like a huge fire flamethrower.
No, I remember that. That wasn't subtle at all.
No, that was not subtle at all.
That's probably why I didn't remember it from the book.
Yeah, because that was also in the book apparently. But no, it's. I feel like this is a clear notion of how her relationships were. These are two men that she basically loved. Because let's face it, she was the one who actually loved Dr. Manhattan in the relationship.
Yeah, and he was like, okay.
I don't care. Yeah, have sex with 3 different me's. Will that work?
Yeah. But yeah, no, that's just sort of like, I think that's like one of the weirder kind of things.
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like it makes sense for Laurie. She basically lost 2 men that she's loved, and Dr. Manhattan was probably more of a physical lover than he was a emotional lover.
Well, yeah, obviously he doesn't have emotions anymore.
Yeah, but no, he like for her, it's like he was still someone important to her, no matter no matter how it turns out, because she immediately seems kind of glad that he's able to respond to her.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, Laurie was the only human connection that he actually had. He just didn't know how to go about it because he had no longer emotions. He felt no connection to humanity.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see how that all plays out in
Yeah.
the book. And I'm more interested to see how it plays out further as we go. Because, in the movie, her and Dr. Manhattan, they have one more talk before he goes away.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen in the book. And what happens in the book is that she and Night Owl bang one more time. Loving embrace. He's, he knows and he just walks away and tells Adrian the whole nothing ever ends and yada yada yada. Yeah, because I don't think that their relationship is done.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how this is gonna play out. I want to see I want to know what's going on with Night Owl now because of this.
Yeah,
I want to know their relationship now. Holy shit!
Yeah, because she's in the FBI now, and he's in prison.
Yeah.
So like, there's definitely there has to be some sort of weird conflict there.
And it's because I think they both were, and they just gave her the free pass, and they locked him up. Maybe I don't know. There's more I want to know about the relationship between Night Owl, Silk Spectre, and Dr. Manhattan now, and this is probably the best way to introduce it. Well, not the best way, because it'd be weird to say the best way to introduce them is to bring back this weird love triangle that they had.
Yeah,
but it's. Well, you can't say that Laurie was never important to Dr. Manhattan. He no longer had, lost a lot of human connections, but at the same time, what's the word I'm looking for? He cares for her.
Yeah.
Heck, in the Doomsday Clock comic that they're coming out, which will be ending soon at the time of this recording. Just one more issue left. Come on, Jeff Johns. Come on. And in the book in Doomsday Clock, I think it was issue 10 or 11. Yeah, it was issue 11 that they explain that Dr. Manhattan like spared this woman who was a criminal. Her name was Marionette, because she was pregnant, and Adrian Veidt was like, "That's weird for him to protect someone who was pregnant, because last time there was a pregnant woman involved, he didn't give a shit."
Right.
The Vietnam woman that Blake had done the deed with. So the reason he saved her is because she knew that that child would later be adopted by Lori.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, and we'll have a loving home with her and Now.
Yeah.
Which again, this is not following that book, which is sad because I actually really like that book, even though it's taken forever to get out there. But aside from that, it's you can't say he never cared about her.
Yeah.
So seeing how this is gonna play out, especially with the relationship with Night Owl, because let's face it, he's bound to show up. Apparently there was a lot more owl imagery around than I thought there was.
Well, I mean, I only know the owl in the cage thing, but I don't know. I didn't pick up anything else.
The eyewear that Angela wears when she's sneaking around. That she's always near some sort of owl kind of theme thing. Her kid was dressed up as an owl.
No, I didn't notice any of that.
You know, I mean, like, that's like it's not. I don't think it was. I think it's just like one of those Easter egg things that people are making connections. Apparently.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, I think that's the most important thing to take away of this episode is the relationship that we have with the past characters, and Lori. Her basically her whole relation, the whole thing that made her a character was her relationship with these men.
Yeah.
And now we're actually giving her a character while also exploring that relationship between these men.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, like, literally, she did, like, I'm not saying she didn't do anything, but it's like, she's upset that Dr. Manhattan's not giving her emotional support or whatever. And so she goes to a guy who does give her emotional support. And I don't know how the sex is, but okay, that's totally up to them. But that's sort of the big thing that's going to be taken away out of this whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm down to see what happens next.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you want to talk about that you feel that should be on the spoiler section?
No, I think we addressed most of the things.
Oh, the Adrian Veidt thing. The theory that I have.
Yeah.
So my theory is, and this has been a theory that's also been going around on the interwebs, as they say, that he's probably not on Earth. He's probably in some sort of weird holding cell that's out of the world, out of Earth, and he's trying to find a way to get out. And supposedly, Dr. Manhattan was the one who built that preservatory for him. Hence why there's so many replicants of his maid and butler.
I mean, that'd be a very interesting. That's an interesting theory. I haven't heard it.
It seems plausible.
It seems plausible given the circumstances, but at the same time, at least for me, it's like the explanation is like, "Oh, Dr. Manhattan did it." It's like, well, I mean, he could totally do it, but did he really do it? I don't know.
We don't know. We have to wait until he actually shows up.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be a real fun thing to go on. Because next episode, it looks like we're going to go more into who this Lady True is, because that's why I mentioned her earlier.
Yeah.
And I think she might be the lady who keeps reading all those newspapers that we talked about in episode 2.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's all I got.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've discussed everything that I thought was interesting.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, I feel like this is more on the short side of our talks, because there's a lot of things that were answered, but there's still some questions, but most of the questions were like, at this point, we'll just wait for the next episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, I think that's about it. You're tired, I can tell.
Yeah, daylight savings time really messes with you sometimes.
Oh yeah. Dude, at work, oh my god, I feel like I should have been gone a long time ago. But no, that's all I got.
Yeah, I guess that's the end.
That's it. That's the end. So, thanks for checking us out. We're the Geek Centurions. Please follow us on all social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Also, check us out on CastBox, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Just forget Spotify, Pandora, and did I say Castbox already?
You said Castbox
All
already.
right. Sometimes I forget. There's a lot of boxes in there and a lot of pods stuff, so it's kind of hard to remember sometimes. Oh, and the YouTubes. We're on YouTube. So please check us out there. Subscribe to us. Hit the bell icon. You hate me for that, don't you?
No, that's listen. That's understandable. Sometimes I even miss notifications if I don't hit the bell icon when I'm subscribed to stuff. So
Yeah. Also, please support us on Patreon. As Kelvin would say at this moment, we are broke back college students. He's more of a broke ass college student than I am. No, I still love you, Kelvin. But yeah, no, it would mean a lot for you, mean a lot to me, to him, to Joey, to all the guys that help, who always show up on the show, to know that you guys are supporting us in any way possible. And yeah, that's been us to the Geek Centurions. This has been
Joey
with a big ass yawn.
Yeah.
And it's your boy Eli. This has been the Geek Centurions, and we are signing out. Peace.